Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Let's watch me do something stupid. Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Welcome to 2020's Dear God video. Why did I do this? Why did I even decide to do this? This is insanity. This is just pure insanity. It's pure insanity. Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Welcome to my wall of insanity, and welcome to the video in which I will slowly lose any sanity that's left in me. Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Welcome to August 2022's Premium Ship Tier Maker review. As you can see, we have 2021s right here, and now we've got all the new ones. I'm hoping that I didn't miss any, else I'm gonna probably hear about it in the comments down below and have just an existential crisis. And from that, because this is gonna be a long one, hope y'all are ready for this. I'm looking forward to it because we do have some upsets, some change-ups, maybe some overvaluing, undervaluing, depending on my old reviews. I've had a lot more time in order to test out some of these ships and then also try out these new ships to tell you where my opinion stands on them. And I'd love to know, of course, your opinions down below. But yeah, let's do the horrible thing and reset this. Alright, let's do it. Okay, rankings. Let's go through them, and just a little preface here, okay? This list and where I position them isn't always going to be about how good those ships perform in their tier. They can kind of correlate, but that doesn't always mean. This is a lot more about whether or not you should buy this ship or not. So, not necessarily talking this massive meta of premium ships overall, but a mix of that plus more about purchasability. So let's talk about this. Let's get into it. So great to buy. These are ships that are great for just about everyone. Most people will enjoy them and perform pretty well in them if they learn their niche or just learn how strong they are with a good captain and everything. Good. These are ships that are just solid. They fit their position well. If you're interested in them, you're gonna have a good time. If you're not interested, you might want to start just have a little bit more thought into before purchasing them. But overall, they will still hold their own in their fields. Niche. So these are ships with unique play styles. You will need to think about these before you buy them. Is this a ship that interests you because it has a unique niche that, hey, it sounds like a lot of fun? Or it's got something where a lot of skill might be required to pull its power out of it in the battle within the meta that it sits in. Playable. These are ships that, hey, you know what, if you want them, they'll work. They'll work generally, but they're not going to hold up to much better ships of those metas or each tier. So just an FYI, you might want to think a little bit harder on these. And then collectors, of course, this is just for people who want to have them and grab the battle honors on and maybe have them sit in port and be beautiful port decorations. These are not good ships, but in general, I would stay away from these. So now we've gone over rankings. Let's get into this. It's gonna be a long one. Let's go. The Admiral Graf Spee, I previously actually had it in niche. I'm going to actually move it up to good. I kind of undervalued it after I got it in my main account, played it a bit. I think I focused too much on its faults last time. When you utilize the guns well, its skills, secondaries, it can handle most DDs and cruisers easily. And, you know, with the torpedoes, if you play it right, you actually can take on a lot of battleships of its tier and even higher. It does take a little bit of skill to pull that off, but overall, I think it's in a good place. I know we recently had a just swarm of them, swarm of bad players, but just like the West Virginia, don't knock it for that situation. Actually try it out and play it, and I might find it's actually pretty good. Admiral Makarov, I actually had this in good. But to me, I think I was undervaluing its capability of just being a commander trainer, and plus, once again, it is a Nuremberg class, which is in the top 3 of all of the cruisers at tier 6. So in my opinion, it is actually a great to buy if you are interested in this. It's just a Russian Nuremberg, which of course challenges its Russian rival at that tier for being one of the best cruisers of its tier. So highly would suggest it. Great to buy. Agincourt, it's great to buy, stays in great to buy. It's a hilarious, just DD destroying and fire starting machine. It is a slower ship, so do understand that, but overall, it will treat you well. If you treat it well, you'll have a blast at tier 5, just sending DDs back and teaching them, hey, don't go near an HMS battleship. especially when they have HE loaded. Agir. So this was sitting in good, more in playable, kind of living between those two. To me, I think it's been actually power corrupt a little bit in its niche at that tier. So just in comparison to other ships, I think it's firmly unplayable in my opinion. It's still a fine ship. It is fun, but its niche is not very strong. And then add on top of it, there's other ships that are stronger and still have its niche. So it's kind of been power corrupt in that position. So Goal. So I previously had this in good. I was led astray by a bunch of probably really fun games and really good, but when you actually play it for longer than just 5-6 games, you start running into its problems. It just doesn't quite work for its tier. It's fun, but those shell arcs and everything, and the lack of damage from the torpedoes and just the spread of them as well, it just doesn't fit in good in my opinion. So it's playable, but yeah, I wouldn't go out of your way for it. Alabama. So goes right into good. It's an incredibly solid, I'd argue the best North Carolina class in this game. So if you like that and you want that, get it. I'd highly suggest it. It's a fun ship. North Carolinas aren't generally for me, but for some people, if they can handle the North Carolina and just want a better one, probably even eke into great to buy for that particular player. So Alaska. This is unfortunately our first collectors. The horrible dispersion of these guns. Yes, it has a lot of skills and it can help and be a good support player, but that dispersion just basically kills all of your damage. You have a just enough armor situation, so you absolutely just get ripped apart by almost everything. It's just no. Get its bigger brother, the Puerto Rico, over this. It's do not buy this. Stay away from it. If you happen to get it, at least you got the the titanium, I think, out of it, so you got that going for it. But yeah, no, just don't. Anchorage, a tier 9 Buffalo that was implayable. It has torps, but it did get a buff with smoke, so now it's in the good category. I'd highly suggest this ship if you are a cruiser main. It's a fun time. It comes in clutch at times, though. Those torpedoes are more of kind of situational because they are long-range, slow torpedoes. But overall, the guns are good with the smoke. It can be a pretty deadly ship in the right hands. Anshan, I actually had this in niche, but to me, it definitely sits in good now. I undervalued it. It's just its capability for its tier. It is just an incredibly solid ship for that. It doesn't have deep water, so I don't have to deal with that bullshit and such, but the guns are great. The skills are great. It's one of the best, I think it's Gnevny class ships in the game, so highly would suggest it if you're interested in it. Arizona. Now, this goes right into good in my opinion. It's similar to the NC class of the Alabama, to the New Mexico class of the Arizona. It's the better version of it. It just is. It's got the precise aim. It absolutely wrecks at that tier. One of the best tier 6 battleships in the game, in my opinion. It hits hard. It's good. You'll enjoy it. So, of course, you do have the New Mexico slowness of it, but at the same time, at least you got 12 guns to absolutely just wallop people. Arkansas. This goes right into collectors. It's unbearably slow. Its guns are, you could argue, decent, but it's just that tier. It just doesn't do well, and it's just better as a collector's item, and probably just unlock it via the mission crates or something like that. You'll just get it, grab the battle honors, get that all done with, and never touch it again. So, yeah. Ark Royal. So, talked to a few carrier commanders about this, and yeah, it goes right into good. It's stupid easy, sets fires easy, it's generally annoying to play against. It's not one of the better of its tier, but it is still incredibly strong. So, if you like carriers and you want to set fires and have a simple game, Ark Royal is there for you. Asashio. This goes right into niche because it has a playstyle specifically that allows you to be a Shimakaze at its tier once a game, twice a game if you have the legendary commander. But overall, you're gonna want to be a torpedo boat captain. You want to know how to play that. If you are that player, it's pretty much great to buy. This is the ship for you. But overall, it's gonna be niche depending on if you like that playstyle or not. Ashitaka. So this goes right into good. It's a very bland, basic tier 7 battleship. If you want that and a Japanese commander trainer, it's right here for you. Just good. Atlanta. This was a niche and stays a niche. It's just good. It's a death by 1,000 cuts, good torpedoes, good AA, smoke once, but it's dangerous in regular games and insane in respawn. It's a fun light cruiser. I enjoy it. There's a newer version of it that I'd say is arguably a bit better, but overall, it's still a good ship. If you like US light cruisers, it will treat you well. Well, everyone, we are 15 ships in and during editing, and thank you so much to Hiromi for spotting this. I already missed a ship in the list, so we got the Aurora. Luckily, yeah, it's collectors. You're going to unlock it. It's tier 3. You're not going to play it much, and you're going to be done with it, and it's just going to sit in your port. So, yeah. Azuma, right into collectors. As much as some people have tried to change my opinion on the Azuma, I'm sorry. It's just for tier 9 mixed in. It's just massive, horrible armor. You give Citadel Crises out to people. You never see anyone playing it for that particular reason. There are a few people that really do enjoy it. So understand there are the few and the proud, but for most people, it's a collector's. Do not buy it. Don't touch it. Bayard. It's a good premium light cruiser for the French. I absolutely love it. With rapid reload, boost, everything. It gives you a little bit of a taste of what a Colbert will be like, but you have those torps that can help you out with that tier 8 heavy meta there. It's a massive ship, so make sure you don't show broadside to anyone or you will be sent back to port pretty quick. But it's still a blast, just fire starting and then occasionally going after DDs and watching your AP just send them right back to port pretty quickly. Belfast, a lot of people would be great to buy. It's a Scourge of tier 7. No, it's just in good. And I put it in good because you need a great commander behind it. You need to know how to play HMS ships like this, but now you have HE, so it just furthers your skill, furthers your power. It's got a lot of capability. I highly would suggest it. If you are a cruiser main, it is great to buy, especially if you have BD or you've gone up the Minotaur line. But for most players, it's just me good because they can't take advantage of all of the firepower and all of the strengths that the Belfast have. You need to have a little bit of skill to pull that strength out of this ship. So overall, good. Now, Belfast 43. This ship is not out as of recording. This, in my opinion, probably will sit right next to Belfast in good. If you are a cruiser main, great to buy, but most players, it will be just in good. I really am interested to see how it handles the tier 8 meta, as the tier 7 one handles it quite well, but of course, without the torpedoes that the 43 has, the regular Belfast kind of struggles, especially against things like the Roma and the Richelieu and everything, but it can still be an incredibly annoying ship, and adding those torpedoes, potentially any other buffs that they add to it, I think personally Belfast 43 is definitely going to be in good, if not great to buy. So we'll find out when it comes out, but that's my early prediction. Let's see how right I am. Benham goes right into niche. It's mine layering torpedoes. It's got a crap ton of them. It's a fun ship, but because of the guns and the skills and kind of also the tier, in my opinion, its bigger brother, the Somers, is just much more capable and a lot more fun. But Benham is still a good time. So if you're interested in it, it's there. Liskovica, this goes right into great to buy. You want to have all the abilities of the European destroyers, but now you have smoke. Yeah, you get flooding missions done instantly. This is by far one of my more favorite ships to play at tier 7. Just has it all. It does incredibly well for its tier. And you have that smoke just in case you maybe push up a little bit too much, or to strategically make sure someone floods and fires for the rest of the game. Borgania, boy was I wrong on this one. I previously had it in playable. Oh, hell no, it's not. It's in great to buy. The only thing that I have to immediately say is that this ship is unobtainium. Most of the time, it comes out in a crate that's 0.07% chance. Please, Wargaming, put a bundle out, okay? You will make buku bucks. Please, this is a great ship. Rapid reload, speed, a ton of guns. Yeah, the armor is a little bit lighter, but once again, you got a lot of guns, so you can do a lot of damage. I absolutely enjoy it, and I highly would suggest picking it up if it ever comes out in a easier way to pick up. Now for the Brandenburg, we actually have a new ship here. Overall, it's playable. It's unfortunately very mediocre for its tier. It can be fun, but in my opinion, there are way better items to pick up for its tier, and it's pretty much kind of similar to the Agir, where it just gets pushed out of good just because of how many other ships are there. If you are interested, it is a fine ship, but yeah, there's way better ships of its tier to pick up before it. Buffalo. Sorry, I had to add that in there, but it's in good. It would be in great if they give it a sonar, but unfortunately, it's basically just raw firepower, raw HE, raw AP, okay armor at tier 10, but with no support capability. So in my opinion, it's a fun time. but it just doesn't go into great to buy because it doesn't have that support at tier 10. I love mine, so if you like the Des Moines class and you just want an additional gun, yeah, it's right there for you. You're swapping out your utility for more firepower, and it will show up in games. It will. It's a very strong ship, but it needs that sonar. Come on, Wargaming. Sonar, please. Please. On to the black ships. We have the Black Admiral Hipper up first. That goes right into playable. The base issues of the ships are still there. The skills don't fix it, but it is arguably better than the Admiral Hipper, which isn't saying much, but it does help. So, Black Amagi previously, I actually had this in good, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to rank it now in playable. I do like it, but age is kind of killing it now. A lot other premiums have come out that are just straight up pushing it out of good. It's still a fine ship, but it might just continue aging poorly as time goes on, so I can't suggest it. Black Amalfi, great to buy. This is the perfect upgrade for Italian cruisers of that tier. You get sonar and rapid reload instead of DFAA and precise aim. You already are incredibly precise in this ship, so you don't use those precise aims in general, and now you also have rapid reload to help gun those DDs down, and if they get a little bit too close, sonar to spot them, which is the perfect fix for the Italian cruisers. It's an incredibly strong ship. If you enjoy Italian cruiser lines, this is perfect. Pick it up, you will enjoy yourself. Black Bayern, for me, it's playable. It's just a minor change up in skills. It doesn't make it any more insane. So if you like the Bayern class, you can get it. It'd be fun, but else, it's eh. Black Bismarck, I was undervaluing it. It wasn't good. Now, clearly in great to buy. It is a discount per se. Roma, absolute blast to play, more of a brawling style, and compared to the Roma being more of a sniper. So if you want that and you want the best Bismarck class in this game, pick it up. Black Bismarck is a blast to play. Black Chapayev. So actually, I was going to put it in playable, but Z-Solaris changed my mind on it. If you like the Chapayev class, it's in niche, and you might like it and might enjoy it. It's a different variant of it. You get rapid reload over it. I prefer the check tree version because of the radar or another variant that has smoke, but overall, the Black Chapayev is there if you enjoy the Chappie class. Black Charles Martel, yeah, I wouldn't make the swap for these skills in a million years. It's collectors. It is still arguably playable, but to me, regular Charles Martel is right there, and it's a perfectly fine ship. The Black Charles Martel actually, in my opinion, hurts it, so I would definitely not pick it up. And another one I missed when I was originally recording, the Black Colorado. Thank you once again to Romy for helping me out with this one. The Black Colorado goes into collectors. It is actually playable, but I'm going to put it into collectors only because it's a Colorado with an engine accelerator. Why? Why would you even do that? It's just a stupid meme ship, and just go get the West Virginia, or just go get the regular Colorado. Black Dallas, I did have this in collectors. I will agree with everyone. The rapid reload on it helps it and puts it into playable. It's a fine ship. If you like the Dallas class, it's a better version of it. Black Edinburgh, it was a niche, stays a niche because it's literally a clone of the Edinburgh class. So if you want a captain trainer at tier 8 and you like the Edinburgh class, it's there for you. Black Frederick de Goober, so technically it does fit in good. But in my opinion, it fits better in niche because you have to like that class in the first place and then just want a better version of it. That's all it is. So yeah, if you like the Frederick de Goober, the black one's there and it's better. So Black Fusion, it's good. It's good. It's another copy of the same ship that we have like 5 different of in this game, but it gives it rapid reload and fuel smoke. So if you want that ship, but with those skills, it's there for you, and it's a pretty fun ship. Black Gascon, Roma treatment of the gas can. Yes, it sits in good only because its turret layout and its armor kind of kills it for a lot of battleship players. So if you like the gas can already, this is just the straight up better version of it, and it goes in great to buy. But for most players, it's going to sit in good, and I would definitely suggest it. I have fun with it. Black Graf Zeppelin, it's the best version of the Graf Zeppelin. Rapid reload 2, secondary overload is nuts if people get close. It's basically a cruiser with a flight deck on it. You'll have fun, it's a great time, and you also can play a pretty aggressive carrier, which some people really enjoy that, actually having a carrier that does something on the team instead of going to the corner of the map. Black Iowa, so I previously had this at playable, but I'm going to agree with a lot of other people. It definitely sits in good. It's a side grade to the main Iowa, but it just doesn't beat the Missouri, in my opinion, at its tier. So if you want a side grade Iowa for its skills and everything, it's there. It's there. It's good. Black Iron Duke, it wasn't playable. I'm going to move it up to good. It is a budget Agincourt, so if you want that or don't have the Agincourt and get access to the Black Iron Duke, it's a good ship. You'll enjoy it, especially with the HE. It still does send DDs packing back to port pretty quickly. Black Ishmael goes right up to great to buy. This is an incredibly strong, basically tier 6 Roma, as many people considered it. It's got a lot of firepower, great skills for its tier, handles most teams incredibly well, so take it out with extreme prejudice if it's on the enemy team, or if you get it, definitely enjoy yourself. Black Izumo, it wasn't playable, but I'm going to move it up to niche. If you like the Izumo class, this is clearly better. Precise aim, rapid reload is an incredibly strong combo in this game, and it has it. So if you like the Izumo, this is clearly a better version of it. Black Kamikaze, it's a Kamikaze, but it has smoke. So yeah, it's good. It's incredibly strong for its tier, hard-hitting torps, incredibly fast torpedo boat. So if you are a DD main, maybe even borderline great to buy. But yeah, overall I'd suggest it. Black Congo, it's unplayable. Congo is generally just an okay ship. The Black Congo doesn't really change it up, so it's unplayable. Borderline collectors, but at least it's somewhat usable. Black Leander, technically fits in niche. It's a copy of the Leander class, just like the Black Edinburgh class, but it's not as good tier for tier. So if you like the Leander, you have a Captain Trainer Black Ship version of it now. Awesome, but else, it's just playable. Black Lexington, and from every single carrier main that I talked to about this, it goes right into collectors, and I'm just going to read their thought right here. This has nothing going for it for the tier. It's objectively bad and needs help. That's a great review there. Black Monarch, so this is a regular Monarch with smoke and rapid reload 1 instead. To me, it goes right into good. I enjoy the Monarch class. The Monarch class is great. It just, I think everyone has a bad taste in their mouth from the Black Monarch because it came out in the shipyard for an outrageous 65 titanium for a tier 8. No, it's not that strong, but it is definitely solid and a great captain trainer for HMS battleships. Black Nagato, it is just playable. It's a Nagato class, which is great, but it's secondary overload for a ship that has bad secondaries. Yeah. Now, Black New Mexico, it is still a New Mexico, so it's playable, but there's a better New Mexico class. It's called the Arizona. Just get that. And we got another one that I missed during the original recording, but the Black New Orleans, actually a pretty recent black ship that came in. It's good. The problem is it's overshadowed by its bigger, better radar brethren. This is a sonar version, and that is pretty good. I still think it's a good, solid ship. Just radar is so much more powerful at tier 7 than sonar is. So if you don't have the Indianapolis and you want something like it, the Black New Orleans is a good option. Black North Carolina, I'm going to put it in niche. Some people like it. I don't. I hated it. But yeah, it's a side grade to the North Carolina class, in my opinion. The Alabama exists, so that one's just clearly better than it. So actually, this one I didn't miss in the original, but I'm redoing it because it's just out of order and it's bothering me during the editing bay. So, Black Shimakaze, it's basically going in niche. It's a one-trick pony at tier 10. I don't know the exact change-ups for the black version, but it's still going to be a Shimakaze, so a crap ton of torps, that one-trick pony attitude. If they buff the guns a little bit or any form of kind of trying to make it almost kind of like a semi-hate, you're going to be moving up into good, definitely. But overall, I'm just going to stick it in niche for right now, and we'll see if I'm right or wrong or which way it goes. Black Shikaku, now I have talked to a few carry mains that have this, and they generally say it's good. It's incredibly strong once against a Shikaku class, but the upgrades don't make it great to buy, so it's kind of in that good category. Black Talon, so the Talon class generally is already problematic, but I'd argue that it's actually playable because it kind of gives it a niche. Now, of course, it is still a torpedo reload niche, but sometimes it actually weirdly works, so I kind of enjoyed it, but it definitely is it's just playable. Black Texas, yeah, it's collectors. The Texas is already just kind of okay, and the black upgrades don't help it enough to escape out of just getting the battle honors done and pretty much viewing it in port. Black Yamato, so actually I kind of was pretty much on point on this one. It's a good side grade to the Yamato. It's a fun time, but overall it's not going to be considered better than the regular Yamato, but overall it's still a Yamato class. You really can't screw it up, and of course that skin for it is absolutely beautiful. We're finally on to the letter C. Oh, Jesus. Oh, fun. Let's get through this. Campbelltown collectors. It's just a Campbelltown. It's not really a great tier 3, but you know, you get it for history pretty much. Canarius. So this is actually a newer ship that we got, but unfortunately its nickname is Carry My Ass because it's an incredibly subpar cruiser. I would just stay away from it. It's not good. Champagne. So I would say great to buy. It's a fun time and get those Citadel missions done quick, but for most people, the lack of guns and also the turret layout, the bad armor, and everything, it just doesn't work for most players. But if you want a ship that gets those Citadel missions done quick, the Champagne Citadel's everything. It's insane. I enjoy it. Play it more like a cruiser, and you'll pull a lot more firepower out of it than typically playing it as that battleship style, since the armor doesn't hold up like other battleships of that tier. Cheshire, this was in collectors. I'm going to move it to niche. Some people have changed my mind. I was biased on this ship when it came out. It was a horrible event, but Ruler's Wave really showed that it is quite a capable ship in the right hands. So if you want the good AA, decent fire starting capabilities, smoke of a heavy cruiser in tier 8, it's there for you. Colbert. So this is a cruiser for DD mains. This is an incredibly fast ship. I'd argue great to buy in the right hands, but overall I'd say niche just because of that. You do need to have the skills in order to dodge with this, because it only takes one shot pretty much from a battleship to send this thing back to port. It's incredibly weak on armor, but its guns and its capabilities are deadly in the right hands. So if you are looking for a bit of a challenge in a gunboat DD main or even a light cruiser main, you're going to enjoy the Colbert. Constellation. As much as I actually thoroughly enjoy this ship for the skills, its guns, its torpedoes, its secondaries, it does really well. Unfortunately, the armor really holds it back, and you have to be able to handle that bad armor and the massive ship that it is. But when you can use all those capabilities all together in a match, it's a very rewarding battleship to play, or a light battleship, I should say. And it can be a lot of fun, but it's not for everyone. Cossack. So this was originally in niche, but you have all taught me how wrong I was. So this is great to buy. This is the king of tier 8 DDs. It's got so many get out of jail free fuel smokes that it's incredibly forgiving as well. But also, hey, you want to go up and kill a DD, you have sonar to do it too, and just so many skills, so many capabilities. The guns are good. The torpedoes are pretty solid. It's nimble. It's fun. I would highly suggest this if you are a DD main. It's a great ship to pick up. Now to our first 40k ship, the Cross of Dorn. It is a good ship to pick up. It is an Odin with rapid reload DFA and a unique APHE pen damage buff. It's a fun ship, and actually probably I'd say one of the best 40k ships of them all, but it can handle its own in tier 8, and it's a lot of fun. So if you are looking for that style and that aesthetic of a ship, Cross of Dorn's right there for you. So actually, while editing, I got my hands on the Dalian. It's going to go right into niche, and only because its HP and lack of AA really prevent it from really going forward. It's going to get just destroyed out of existence by CVs and or even good battleships in the game. But if you can play that sneaky cruiser that can hunt down DDs when you don't have any skills to hunt those DDs down, you've got good guns and a crap ton of torpedoes. So if you enjoy that, it'd be good for you, but else I'd probably stay away. De Grasse, so this is playable. It's an AA spec Lagassinier. I wouldn't change out the Lagassinier for that, because tier 6 AA sucks already, so even if you buff it just a little bit, it doesn't fix the ship. So yeah, it's there. The 7 provinces. Oh yes, we all remember the Scourge of this thing because it is great to buy and super annoying to play against. It takes a bit of skill to make it work. But those 3 airstrikes and those 360 guns, the maneuverability, the radar, the speed of it, the AA of it, yeah, it's an incredible combo. You know, you could argue probably good because that skill is needed, but with those 3 airstrikes and how fast they reload, it is incredibly potent even in non-skilled hands. So definitely great to buy, and just remember to wash your hands after playing it, because you will feel a little dirty at times on how many fires and how many bombs you hit. Dreadnought, it's a collector ship. It's just it's rough for its tier, but then again, that entire tier for battleships is rough in general. So yeah, it's there if you want it. Duca de Osta, it's a good ship. You actually do have a pre-nerf sap on it still, so that's incredibly strong. It's AP strong, its torps are strong. It is a light cruiser, so you will get kind of blapped at times at that tier, but it is still maneuverable enough to dodge everything, and plus you do have sonar, so you can hunt those DDs down in their smoke and just hit them with that beautiful sap you have. Let's see if I don't slaughter this too much. Duca della Brisi. If I didn't, it goes right into good. It's an incredibly forgiving Italian cruiser because it has HE instead of SAP. Yeah, you lose out on that SAP power, but now you can start fires with the incredible range this ship has. It's a great Italian cruiser if you want one, and also one that has HE, so a little benefit to it. Duke of York. Fine, I get it. The very few of you that actually enjoy the ship, it's not collectors, it's playable. It is still a King George V class, which sucks. The smoke kind of helps, but there are so many other better tier 7 HMS battleships to get. Even the Hood is clearly better than this ship. Just stay away. This thing barely ekes out of collectors. Just understand that. Dunker. So this is a tier 6 Richie. It's strong for its tier, but it's not the best of its tier. If you want that style of play, it's there for you. It's a fun time, but it is kind of showing its age. I don't know if anyone else has kind of noticed. It's not, doesn't feel as good, if you want to say. But at the same time, I still think it's a good ship. But it might need a little bit of refreshing soon wargaming. On to E, we have the Enterprise. The carrier mains told me, great to buy. It's an incredibly solid ship. It's got good bombers, great fighters, good fire chance. It's one of the best in tier 8 and super annoying to play against. So if you know what you're doing, it'll treat you well. Eric Loneheart, this is a good carrier for tier 6. Tier 6 tends to not be a very stressful tier as well, so this is pretty much a cruiser with a flight deck, no fighters, but decent bombers and decent torpedo bombers. So if you want to have an easy to play carrier, I would definitely pick this up, and also you can once again play more aggressive than most carriers due to its armor and its guns. With the Exeter, it goes right into playable. Unfortunately, its size is what really kills it. Its guns are actually pretty good. Torpedoes are good. Smoke is good, but it sits so high up off the water. It's incredibly easy to hit for that tier and just gets smoked by so many other ships on that tier. So I really wouldn't suggest it, but you'll probably just acquire it sometime and you get the battle honors done on it. Fen Yang, this goes right into niche. It's not a bad ship. I actually played it and had a bit of fun with it, even with the deep water torpedoes. But those Akazuki guns on it absolutely are killer. But their accuracy is really good. It's the arcs you have to get used to. Once you get used to the arcs, you can be landing a lot of hits with this ship. It can be a lot of fun. But also, this would be a great Pan-Asian commander trainer. So if you need that, it's there. But overall, not for everyone. So I kind of did the Flandre dirty last year. I put it in playable, and boy, was I wrong. No, it's good. It's just a solid tier 8 French battleship. It's got good guns, good secondaries, actually pretty decent armor. It does everything you want out of a battleship, and if you're really looking for something bland and basic, the Flandre is there for you. So it's just solid. So it's not a master or none situation, but it's a jack of all trades for the battleships at that tier. It will handle about everything. It's not great to buy just because it's a competitive tier for battleships. So yeah, it's just good. Just good. On to another new ship. We have the Flint. So a lot of people would think it's an Atlanta class with different skills. It would go into niche, but in my opinion, those skills bring it barely better and barely into good. I prefer the Atlanta over it, but that's just me. The general community consensus is that the Flint is good, and from what I've gotten. So I'd like to know in the comments, what's your opinion, Flint versus Atlanta? Just love to know. I'd say it definitely sits in good, but barely good. Now with the Florida, this is your basic battleship. It's just good. It's got a lot of guns, decent armor. It kind of competes, depending on who you talk to, as one of the better tier 7 battleships, but in my opinion, it doesn't eke out that win on it. But if you get it, you'll have fun with it, because just the amount of guns at medium range, this thing can hurt. This thing can definitely hurt. Now, I don't really think I need to explain this ship, but the Friesland. It's great to buy. This is an annoying scourge at tier 9, but it is so much fun to play. The just fast firing guns, the great AA, the smoke, the sonar, the fire starting capabilities, the AP just chunking of other DDs, the nimbleness of it. It is a fantastic ship, and I would highly suggest picking it up. But no, sometimes you're not going to feel so great after a game because you'll just be like, that was dirty. So the Gallant is pretty much your basic HMS DD. It's great to learn from, has the regular smoke in comparison to the field smoke of the texturing line, but it teaches you a great way how to use those single shot torpedoes in a pretty easy tier 6. So overall, it's just good. To a ship that I was probably overvaluing, I had the Georgia in niche. It is a fun meme ship. You got that speed boost, you have 457s at tier 9, they're hard hitting, but you have the lack of guns, and that use of your speed gets you in trouble more often because, yes, you can get into a position really close and you really speed up and hunt people down, but your secondaries kind of suck. You don't really have that much firepower with the amount of guns you have. Yes, you have that awesome Citadel capability, but if you don't get those Citadels, it really feels kind of lackluster. So yeah, it's more of a playable ship. I think I was overrating it. The Grozia. So yeah, it's playable. It does get the Black Amalfi treatment, so it's better than the Zara of the similar tier, but unfortunately that turret layout kills its ability to really hunt down DDs because you're splitting your firepower 50-50, and in order to get all your guns on target, you're showing a pretty large silhouette to maybe a DD that you're hunting that probably has torpedoes ready just to smack you with it. So it doesn't fix it like the Black Amalfi. So yeah, Grozia is there, it's playable. The Graf Zeppelin, this goes into niche. This is basically a cruiser with planes. Some like it, some won't. It's just overshadowed by its black version that's just better because of the skills that it brings. The Gremieshki, this is definitely a niche ship. I enjoy it. It's a Russian gunboat, so it's fun, but it actually fixes the torpedoes that have such a short range on the regular gunboat line, so it's a little bit more playable. Some people will like it, some people won't. Hard-hitting guns, but those things turn like molasses, so make sure you are always pre-aiming your guns with the Gremieshki, or you're gonna not be able to always have your guns on target. It's fun, but not for everyone. Now, the Guilo Cesario, the Giulio Cesario, however you want to pronounce it, it's great to buy. This is the king of tier 5 battleships, in my opinion. It's fast, nimble, great guns, AP monster, especially if you have APCS, if you're bringing down your commander from the Christopher Colombo on that. It's just a fun ship, highly would suggest it, and even better, you can get it out of a mission. It's great. So, free. On to the Hayata, which is arguably, if this could have its own tier, it probably is the ship that would actually have its own tier. This is the worst ship in the game, pretty much, from everyone I know. The Hayata is always compared to any other bad ship. It just doesn't work for its tier. It doesn't have the firepower for its tier. It needs to be a tier lower, probably, if not 2 tiers lower, and then it actually would be good. But yeah, no, the Hayata, just don't touch it. It's collector's edition. Do not buy it unless you really want to experience the worst ship in the game, in my opinion. Now, the Hayate. I was wrong with this. I previously had this in niche because I kind of figured taking those two extremes really didn't work well from the Harugumo and the Shimakaze. But overall, I actually think it came out better than both of them in many ways. The Hayate can just do just about everything in the game. It does a crap ton of damage, and in the right hands, it basically is a Shimakaze occasionally and a decent Harugumo at other times. I'd highly suggest it. It definitely pushes itself out of niche, and I was wrong for that. I undervalued those two combos coming together and really creating a pretty well-balanced ship. Helena, now this ship is just playable. It's a broken class that now has radar. That's pretty much it. If you like the broken class and want radar, there's another ship for this, and we'll get to that pretty soon. But yeah, the Helena's there. It's okay. It's playable. The Hill. So this is a tier 5 Mahan with fuel smoke. That's an incredibly deadly combo. Highly would suggest it. I love mine, and if it ever comes out again, you should pick one up for yourself. It's a blast at tier 5. The Heisen. This is a Japanese Montana. It's not great. It's got barely good accuracy. It takes a bunch of damage from it. It's playable. It's just playable. I would highly suggest stay away from it. But it's not that bad to go into the collector's area. You can still kind of make it work. The Hood. So I've hated on the Hood a lot because I love my Nelson, and yeah, that makes sense. But the Hood is not as bad as I say it is on stream. It's just, I don't prefer it. But for most people, it might work for you. I put it in niche Some would even argue good. It does have good AP, but unfortunately, its armor doesn't really compete as well. It's pretty darn accurate for its tier. So, like, I see the redeeming qualities of it. Some people would put it in good, but to me, I think it depends if you can handle just that ship, and also just how many times I've gotten Citadel crises from these ships on other ones. Just history replaying itself. Now to our newest carrier here, we have the Hornet. So this goes into niche. This is specifically if you want hard to kill dive bombers, and that's really it. The rest of it is just okay. It does cause a lot of fires, it does have a decent setup, but overall, do you want just that? That's all it really brings to the table. Now, the Hanghi, I'm hopefully pronouncing that right too, but to me, this goes into niche, but it is a sleeper with certain things. In my opinion, it's one of the better tier 6s. It's just incredibly sneaky. It's got that torpedo reload, so it's got a lot of torps on one side, and then you can switch over to the other side. You get smoke, you get decent HE starting, guns. Like, it has a lot going for it, but unfortunately that armor really holds it back. So if that sounds fun to you, I would highly suggest it. It's a weird one, but it ends up kind of working sometimes. The Hyuga. So it's good. I'm going to say it's good. I hate mine. I absolutely hate mine, and I don't know how people make it work. But you want to know what? I know plenty of other people that make it work. I'm going to put it in good. I see why, but it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't. It's got rapid reload 3 on Fuso guns at tier 7. That is a powerful combo. I don't know why. It just doesn't jive with me. It just doesn't, but it might jive with you. Another 40k ship, we have the Ignis. This goes right into playable. It is a radar Tirpitz. The Tirpitz already has problems, and this doesn't fix it. So yeah, I wouldn't suggest it, but hopefully the Tirpitz classes can get some love soon. They've really aged poorly, and it's showing. Imperator Nikolai, this goes right into collectors. You can make it work. It is kind of fun at tier 4, but unfortunately, it's just a bunch of inaccurate guns at tier 4. It's a barge. If that sounds interesting and you can make it work, awesome. But I'd argue just tier 4 has some pretty decent battleships, and this just doesn't make the cut. Now, the last premium ship review I called the Indianapolis Sleeper. Nowadays, the cat's out of the bag. Everyone knows about this ship. It goes right into great to buy. 203s with rapid reload and radar. It's a great combo. It takes on just about everything. It is the Belfast counter, but it allows so much more play, and it's so much easier to play overall, in my opinion, than the Belfast. Though I will say that if you run into a very good Belfast, they will still kick your butt pretty well, but you can at least generally give them a challenge. So that's why I put the Indianapolis in great to buy. It's just works for so many more people, but it's a great combo, very powerful ship for tier 7, and highly would suggest it. Now to the click to win ship itself, the Indomitable. This is great to buy because it is brain dead simple to play, as it's just dive bombers and fighters, and realistically you just use the fighters to bait other person's fighters to keep them away from your dive bombers, while your dive bombers start 3 fires on every single ship they run into and bomb. This is an annoying ship to run into. I hate to say that it's great to buy, but it is. It's incredibly powerful. Please don't buy it. Please. The Irian. Now, previously I had this in playable. I still regret this purchase of this ship, but I'm going to move it to niche because certain people do like it. It is another Chapayev class, but now with deep water torpedoes, torpedo reload, and kind of a more focused on AP rather than HE for this ship. But the HE is still usable. Some people really like this. I put this down to is, do you like the Chapayev class and can you handle deep water torps? Then this ship might be for you. But for me, I've actually sold mine. I regret that purchase. It's a horrible ship in my opinion for me, but it might work out great for you, as I've seen some great Irian players, and those deep water torpedoes can be quite hilarious to use at long range because they do hurt. So yeah, it fits better in niche. The Issei, this is a unique HMS ship, Saxon Japanese, but with dive bombers. It's a kind of a weird ship. I previously had it playable, but after having seen it used in competitive play as a spotter using those paper bombers that it has, I'm going to put it in niche. It's kind of an interesting ship. HE sometimes I find it's just straight up better to shoot out than AP, but it can kind of work. I don't know. So I'm just going to put it in niche. I think it fits there better, especially with that competitive nature where you can spot things for your team in certain competitions. But overall, Issei is not that bad. It's just very particular, very unique. To the Jean Bart, and unfortunately it has not been buffed. Pigbay's video just says it all from a while ago. It's the exact same position as it was a while back. This is playable, but barely that. I could even argue collectors. It's just, especially now with the Alsace, since it's got its rapid reload buff now, it's just the Alsace is just clearly better than the Jean Bart. Don't put money into the Jean Bart. It's not a tier 9 Richie. I promise you, it is not a tier 9 Richie. There are better ships at tier 9 than it, and it's barely eking into playable for me. Now we have the Jora here. Unfortunately, this is just another forgettable Blitz Pass ship. It's playable just because it's a Gallant clone, and the Gallant is pretty good, so it's not bad, but it's just a different style of it. I just don't think it makes it as good as the Gallant, so yeah, it's there. It's playable. Now to a carrier that pretty much needs no introduction. It's the Kaga. This is great to buy. This is the most annoying ship to run in at tier 7. It just utterly kills everything. There's just so much going on, similar to that of like the Black Shikaku, but a tier lower and just as good. It's incredibly powerful. I hate that I have to say and suggest it for carrier mains, as I'd have to run into them more, but to me, the Kaga is incredibly powerful and great to buy for those CV mains. But yeah, I hate you for playing that ship, because that is just so many fires and floods. God, it's annoying to play against. Now to the just regular Kamikaze. It's an incredibly fast ship with good torps. That's really all you can ask for at that tier. They hit hard, they're long range. The guns, of course, it's a torp boat, so the guns are pretty bad, but you can pretty much speed out of any area you have a problem with because you're just that fast. So it's a fun time for DD mains. Good. The Katori. This is a tier 3 cruiser that kind of can't really do much, so it's a collector's. If you want it, it's there. It's just okay. Onto a new ship, the Kearsarge. Now, actually, Terry pretty much changed my mind on this ship. I was going to basically put it in dumpster it in collectors, do not buy, or barely into playable, but I'm going to put it in a niche. Some people can make it work. In my opinion, it doesn't really have that great of niche, but we could probably see it in the inevitable future in a high-tier competitive game, especially kind of similar to the Issei as a way, but the guns are pretty good. It's just the armor and size of this thing is massive, but if you do end up owning it, go watch Terry's video. Maybe they'll help you actually play it and maybe put it on the good side for you, but for me, barely playable. Like it's a rough ship because it's just that size, that armor. It's a pinata to me. The key. So the Amagi class is just straight up aging. I already talked about it with the Black Amagi. I'd put the key in playable. Yes, it has those long-range torpedoes, but they're kind of more of a gimmick rather than an actual usable item. They do help, but it's not something that's going to win you the game over in the key because of that just horrible armor. But it does have decent guns, and you might like it, but overall, I find it playable. Now on to a bit of a swing here in terms of everything. We've got the Kirov, great to buy. This is a fantastic 180s cruiser. Tier 5 just absolutely demolishes things. Citadels, battleships, all the time. Hilarious AP. The HE is kind of rough, but it does have good defensive torpedoes, so if a DD tries to assassinate you, you at least can take it out with you. But in my opinion, the Kirov is easily in contention with the Königsberg as the best tier 5 cruiser. It's phenomenal. I would highly suggest, if it ever comes back up, to pick it up. On to the next roller coaster of Russian cruisers here. We got the Crossing Krim. Goes right into collectors. Do not buy. You'll play it. You'll be like, oh my god, this thing just doesn't feel good for tier 5. There's so many better cruisers at tier 5, and it's just bad. Some people will say it's playable, but those are people that are probably just trying to push it to its extremes. When it's tier 5, there's much better ships. Just don't get the Crossing Krim on purpose. I'm saving you sanity here, okay? And back up this roller coaster of Russian cruisers, the Kronstadt. This goes right into Great Divide. This is a fantastic sniper for tier 9. Great cruiser. Its armor doesn't always hold up, but if you can just stay at range, use that little mobility that you actually have to dodge some shells, and then just absolutely obliterate targets at long range, because these things are accurate even without precise aim. I don't even run dispersion on this. I run turret traverse to make it so I can get those turrets on target more, because you don't really need that dispersion buff in the first place, because you don't even need precise aim as well on this. It's just that accurate. So highly would suggest picking this up if it ever comes back. We're finally at L, people. Oh, we're finally at L. Oh god, this is taking forever. Let's just keep on going, keep on trucking. On to another ship that I overranked it. So the Le Terrible was a niche. It's definitely unplayable. Yes, it just got sonar recently, but you're not getting close enough to use that sonar, because those guns turn horribly. So yeah, no, Le Terrible is still the whole meme. It is Le Terrible, but yeah, the sonar doesn't help. I don't know what Wargaming was thinking about giving it that. So another one that I unfortunately missed during the original recording, but once again, thank you to Romy for calling them out, and also link for his YouTube channel will be down below. Lenin just goes right into playable. It's a tier 8 Nelson. That sounds like a grand idea, but then keep its tier 7 armor and then give it horrible inaccurate guns. Yes, you get precise aim, but that's the only time that you're accurate. Like, you can literally miss a trash can at a kilometer with these guns. That's how inaccurate they are. The only thing that keeps it from collectors is I kind of don't mind it. Like, it's not that bad per se, but it can blap DDs with HE, but it just doesn't hold up hardly at all. Similar to a lot of other ships in playable, where it does have at least a few kind of fun qualities, or at least decent qualities, but it's not trash tier completely. But it's got a foot in there. The Leningrad. So this ship, I had it in niche. I think it fits better in playable. Unfortunately, mid-tier gunboats just do great. It does have usable torpedoes, but not insanely usable torpedoes, so I think it fits better in that playable area. Some people might enjoy it, but overall the mid-tier gunboats are all kind of in a rougher shape. So I wish Wargaming would actually give them some love and kind of make gunboats a little bit more of a viable playstyle in this game. At least a little bit more viable, I should say. The Leon, this goes in the collectors. Unfortunately, it just doesn't have enough firepower for its tier. I'm hoping Italian DDs are just straight up better than this, because this is not a good preview for the coming Italian DDs. So yeah, just don't touch this. Man, I seem to have overvalued the L's, actually, now that I'm looking at this. But the London, it was a niche. It's now unplayable. It's an Exeter at a higher tier. It still has that problem where it just has so much area outside of the water. It's so easy to hit. But, you know, it does have Exeter guns. You can kind of make it work. But, yeah, it's playable. Lo Yang. So this goes right into playable. It's got much better tech tree ships that it's a reskin of the Benson or the Shenyang. But, yeah, no, the Lo Yang goes into playable. Some DD mains that I've talked to even talked about collectors. It just doesn't work well for it. So yeah, it's there if you want it, but I'd probably say stay away. The mains. So this ship, I undervalued it. Previously, I had it in good, but now that I have it, it's total dog. I'm kidding. It's great to buy. This thing is insanely accurate. The guns on it just chunk. Unfortunately for me, it just doesn't really work well, but I've seen other mains players just do incredibly well with the ship. It's got the full suite of everything, and it makes me really wish the Hindenburg was better in this case, but I have a feeling it's just more my capabilities. It's just not a ship that fits my play style, but the mains is great in a lot of hands, so if you are looking for a good German cruiser, the mains is right there for you. The Marblehead. So once again, just goes in the collectors, kind of like the Krasny Krem. It's an Omaha class. The Omaha class sucks. Don't get it. Just don't. There's no redeeming qualities for it. On to one of our newest tier 10s, the Marceau. So it goes in good. I would argue that if you are a DD main and enjoy the DD hunters and just, you know, kind of sometimes you just chuck out torpedoes and hope they hit, kind of similar to the Grozavoy line almost, the Marcel is perfect for you, goes up to great to buy. But for me, I think generally for everyone, the Marcel goes into good. It's a fun ship, insane guns, but they're limited by their range. The torpedoes are just send them and forget it, and pretty much you send them off one side, you switch over to the other side, shoot those off. By that time, pretty much you could switch over to the other side and those are reloaded. So it's got a lot of torpedoes. I really wish the Kleber had those torpedoes as well, but the Marcel at least has the fast turning guns compared to the Kleber's heavier hitting, slower firing, but slower turning guns. So yeah, Marcel, it's a good ship. Highly would suggest it if you're a DD man. Now on to a tier 9 that should probably have just been a tier 10, the Marco Polo. This thing goes up great to buy. This thing is absolutely nuts. It's a SAP Roma with spotter plane. That's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. If you can get it, it's tanky, hits hard, deletes DDs, smacks battleships with the precise aim rapid reload combo, and then oh by the way, yeah, its range is kind of iffy, but that spotter plane just fixes it every now and then. So yeah, Marco Polo, get it if you love battleships, because it is one of the best battleships in the game, tier for tier. On to a separate tier 9 that unfortunately just is not as good, but it's a weird ship. So the Marlborough. So first and foremost, it's going right in a niche, and the niche is you have to be able to manage the problems with this ship. So it's got a crap ton of guns, which of course just racks up damage pretty easily. Okay, AA, decent mobility, but the problem with it is that it's got crap armor and its guns turn like molasses. It is rough to play. But once again, you've got that crap load of guns, so if that's the playstyle you like, Marlboro's for you. But overall, I generally say for most people, it's playable. Just because of those guns, but overall I'm going to put it in a niche because some players can make it work, and I kind of enjoyed it, but I just never saw great games out of it. So on to yet another North Carolina class, the Massachusetts. Now arguably it should go into niche because it is a brawling US battleship, but because of the fun factor of it and actually just how good the guns feel, I feel like the guns are better than the North Carolina and the Black North Carolina. I'm gonna put it in good because of that fun factor. It's not as good as the Alabama overall. The guns feel like kind of how the Alabama is, but now you have a niche of brawling and just insane secondary, so I'd say it's good, but just borderline good. Oh, the Maya. I enjoy this ship. I would love to say it's good, but unfortunately the Takao class has been kind of aging poorly. The entire IJN cruisers have actually really just been aging poorly. I am going to put it in a niche. I still think it's a good ship because now you actually have AA that can take down planes at all, pretty much, and that's kind of your greatest adversary. It works better in platoons than the Takao class, but I'm going to put it into niche because those torpedoes, the guns, the armor, it is a nice package, but unfortunately there's a lot of better tier 8 cruisers that compete against it, and it just can't compete at this tier as well. But if you can play this as a super large DD that actually has pretty decent AA and you don't get focused by a carrier, you'll have a fun time. I enjoy it, but it's not for everyone. The Mikasa, one of the most requested ships to play on stream nights. It is definitely collectors, but if you want to have fun on stream nights, it's just great to buy. So I'm going to put it up in great to buy. But for most people, it's collectors, especially when the secondaries do more damage than the primaries, pretty much. So yeah, it's a weird ship, but it's fun. I'm going to put it up into great to buy just because we have so much fun on stream. The Mikhail Kutuzov. This is the Shapayev class that I believe is great to buy. This is the best Shapayev class in my opinion, but I haven't played the Shapayev class in a long time. So I'm going to go back and revisit it. So just know the Mikhail Kutuzov might be more in the good category. Some people say it's actually just in the playable category because it just adds smoke, but I find that smoke kind of is that one get out of jail free card that kind of really fixes it. It's the few ships that actually that one smoke actually really does help. But to me, I'm going to put it into great to buy, but know that maybe in the future this might change, that the tech tree is just straight up better now that it has radar. But I don't know, I really thoroughly enjoy the Kutuzov, so I highly suggest it to start fires. It's a balanced Smolensk at tier 8, so I like it. The mighty Mo herself, the Missouri, right into great to buy. Radar, precise aim, great AA, great armor, great guns. This is the tier 9 that actually really competes at tier 10 in a great way. Highly would suggest it to battleship players, even cruiser players will enjoy it. That radar comes in clutch so many times against DDs because they're just like, oh, it's just a battleship. No, it's not. No, it's insanely good and highly would suggest it for just about everyone. The Mogami. So this was actually one of my first premiums in this game, and at the time it really wasn't that bad of a ship, but unfortunately, just like all the other IGN cruisers, age has kind of gotten to it. It is a nice kiting, fire-breathing ship, but it doesn't have the range that, per se, the Russian fire-breathers have, so in my opinion, it just sits unplayable. You can make it work. It can be fun with those 15 guns. You can really hurt DDs in it, but it needs something, so I'm hoping Wargaming buffs it soon, because it's old, and you can definitely feel it. So, fun fact actually about the Molotov. This is my first premium I ever bought in this game, and it's still in good. It's aged gracefully with those 180s, hits hard, does pretty well. It competes with the Nuremberg and the Admiral Makarov as the best tier 6 cruiser. I think those three really, it's a toss-up depending on who you talk to. Fantastic ship still, but tier for tier, it's not as good as its little brother, the Kirov, in tier 5, because this thing can see tier 7s, and this being a light cruiser kind of just boom whenever it runs into a tier 7 battleship. So just know it's good, but it's not going to hold up as well as the Kirov does. Next up, we have the Monahan. So while this is basically a lower tier Asashio, so you think it'd go into niche, you can just spam out torpedoes like a Shima at a lower tier. Realistically, because the torpedoes don't do that much damage, tier for tier, as per se the Asashio does, I'd put it in playable. But I will concede, if you have Halsey, the legendary commander, it definitely fits in niche. Definitely. But overall, more playable to me. On to, I think, my second actual tier 10 that I ever unlocked. Now it's a premium, but the Moskva. This is going straight up into great to buy. Great arcs, great guns, handles just about everything. You want to go into a team, it helps. You want to go solo, it can do it. You want to go against a battleship, oh yeah, it will Citadel it. You want to destroy DDs, it can do it pretty well. I'll concede that, but at least it has radar, so it can hunt them just a little bit, especially if you have assistance. But the Moskva, it's a damn near perfect tier 10, and I absolutely love it, and I suggest it to just about everyone because of that laser accuracy of those shells. It's so good. So good. Even after that nerf a while back, it is still so good. Now to the Mushin, hopefully I pronounced that right, but I'm just going to put it in playable, just borderline niche, I'd argue, just tier for tier. It just doesn't hold up as much as the mains, or as even just the Nuremberg in general, so yeah, it's got something going for it, but you rarely ever see anyone play it. So I'd love to know in the comments down below more on the Mushin of where you would put it. But yeah, to me, I just never really see it doing well, or just never see it at all. So Yamato's little brother, the Musashi, I put it in niche. That's pretty much on the basis if you want a tier 9 Yamato. Else, just get the Yamato. It's okay, it has no skills, so you can't really get those super long accurate shots, but it's still pretty decently accurate. So if you want a Yamato for premium at tier 9, it's there. Now another Nagato class, the Mutu, which is way better in my opinion. I think it goes right up into good. It does have those torpedoes, which are definitely more of a gimmick, but it's kind of surprising how often people forget about them and you just kind of wind up hitting them and they reload so quick, you're pretty much popping them out as almost you have like a mini third turret, or fifth turret I should say, on there. But Nagato class is good. I enjoy it, and I think it's in a good state. But yeah, those torpedoes are kind of just random and really funny when you kill a DD with them. Oh, the Mysore. Mysore, it's for buying you. I should not have. No, it's collectors. It's a pile of trash. It needs so many buffs. I really wish it was better, because it's kind of, historical piece. But yeah, it's just don't touch it. Don't touch it. We got a new ship here, the Napoli. It came out a little while back, was bugged before it came out, which was an absolute blast. But the Napoli, unfortunately, goes right into niche. If you can manage the SAP secondaries and actually go up against mainly DDs, this ship is just hilariously good still. But when you brawl up against, per se, Christopher Colombo or any other battleship, the SAP just does not pen at all. It does have really solid guns, and overall it's a good package, but unfortunately the SAP against battleships just kills it. And while its range doesn't help either, because it does have a shorter range on the main guns, the guns hit hard, so you got that kind of thing. So if you can manage the short range on the main guns and the SAP secondaries, it's a fun ship. I enjoy it, but I also see its failures that a lot of people would have an issue with. Oh, the Nelson. I love this ship. The Nelson with Horacio Nelson on it is just broken. I'm just going to say that right now. But Nelson, this is a great to buy ship. You can use free XP to unlock it. 9 forward firing guns, absolutely fire starter, and then the AP just smacks at close range. Overall, great ship for just about everyone. Let alone, on top of it, you can pretty much blap DDs back to port. It is, I'd say, the best HMS battleship in the game. I think I'd gander. Love to know in the comments if anyone disagrees, but Nelson is love. Nelson is love. Get it if you can. On to another new ship. We've got the Nutra Shimmy. So this goes right into niche. It's a support cruiser, and whenever you buy it, think about it as if you don't want to play this with randoms. What you do is you want to get a group together, and you want to think about, if I gave all the abilities that the Nutra Shimmy has to another ship, how broken would that ship be? So Nutra Shimmy plus like Osterjotland, just kind of like the Friesen with the Osterjotland and everything like that. The Nutra Shimmy now is a force multiplier for that ship, because now you've given all those skills and capabilities to a whole nother ship type. So it's a great niche ship. It's a great support DD in my opinion. Not for running solo, but if you could run it in a team, it's a blast to play and it really does help out the team. Next up is a current shipyard ship. We have the Akiva. In the past, I had this in playable. I looked at it as a baby Smolensk that just didn't have the power of the Smolensk, so why would you even get it? It doesn't have the gimmick. But radar plus smoke is a deadly combo, and I think I underrated it. I think it's in a good state. It is a support cruiser, so understand that. Pair it up with something that's got a lot of firepower that, once again, counts the Nutra Shimmy. If you gave those skills to something else, would it be even that much more powerful? But the guns are actually pretty good at hunting down DDs. It's very nimble, but it is a light cruiser, so you're going to occasionally take a massive hit from battleships. But overall, I think I undervalued it a little bit, and it is a pretty solid ship these days. Octoberesque Revolution, and I'm betting I slaughtered that still, but it's playable, it's decent. It's kind of one of those ships, it's just a lot of guns, but the guns aren't that very accurate, and at tier 5, there's much better ships once again overall, but you'll probably unlock this eventually, get the battle honors done, and it's not a bad looking ship either, so you got that going for it. The Odin, this one came in and made a splash at that tier, and it's still up and great to buy. It is a fantastic tier 8 ship if you want to pick it up. It's a tier 8 Scharnhorst with all the proper upgrades for the 7 to 8, and yeah, really shows why the Tirpitz need some love, because this thing really pushed the Tirpitz down. It's just so good, it's so much fun. So if you are looking for a brawling battleship that is good, the Odin's right there for you. The Ohio, unfortunately, I am going to be demoting it from great to buy to good. And the reason is I've played it further, I've played the Montana further, and I have to argue, say I kind of like the Montana better than I like the Ohio. And it's just the lack of guns per se. It does fix the Georgia issue. I do have to say, like, the lack of guns from the Georgia has kind of hurt that overall. And the Ohio can kind of do a lot of damage and basically be a Monty in most cases, if not all cases. But the Montana just feels better than it, and I can't put it in great to buy anymore just due to those feelings. So yeah, you might like it, you might just say it's great to buy as well, but for me, I'd say it's better than good. Oh, the Ohotnik, or the War Canoe as many people call it, it's niche. It's just a stupid ship with a crap ton of torpedoes, a crap ton of guns, super thin. It's perfect for teaching you the assassination playstyle of the Kiev line. I say the Kiev line because the Cabral sucks, but the Ohotnik, it's just a fun ship. But it's definitely not going to be for everyone, because the torpedoes are incredibly short range and the guns are slower than molasses, but it's still a lot of fun, and it's a War Canoe. It's niche. The Orkan. So this is actually one of our newest tier 8s, and in my opinion, this goes right up and competes with the Cossack as one of the best tier 8 DDs. It's basically a Lightning with EU torpedoes and EU ballistics on their guns. It's got radar and smoke. It's a fantastic and fun ship. Incredibly modernized too. It looks really nice in my opinion. But yeah, I really would like to know in the comments down below what's everyone's opinions on the Orkan now that's in there. And on top of it, who do you think would generally win, the Orkan or the Cossack, in the community's idea of which one's better? I'd love to know, because the Orkan, I really enjoy that, but I also really enjoy the Cossack. It's a tough choice, and it really is because of that radar and smoke, which is a powerful combo. You put Swirsky on it, even worse and such. Cossack, though, is also incredibly powerful, so I don't know, love to know in the comments down below. Oh, this ship. The Paolo Emilio, or the YOLO Emilio on the PC version, it's got incredibly hard-hitting torps, but this thing is massive, and the guns are just, once again, okay. Luckily, it's not the Leon situation, so, like, it is playable, in my opinion, but I really hope that the Italian DDs are way better than this, because this ship, while yes, you can pretty much one-shot a crap ton of ships in game because of just the heavy-hitting torpedoes, it's kind of pretty lackluster on everything else. The Perth, this goes right into collectors. It's a downgrade in comparison to the other Leanders, so yeah, I can't suggest it. It's got fuel smoke instead of regular smoke, and that's just not good for that class. Onto a new ship that we have, the Plymouth. This is a tiered up Edinburgh, but you have a radar on top of it. This really works well with a team and a group. I'd highly suggest it for any other HMS CL enjoyers. It's a fun ship, especially when you do pair it with other ones. I enjoy the Neptune a little bit more, but I can totally see how adding in this ship to a regular group of regular people you play with, adding that radar and smoke, it's incredibly powerful and a strong tier 9. The Poltava, this is great to buy. This is the almost universally considered best tier 7 battleship, and you just see in Rulers of Wave all the time or in any competition at tier 7. It's just accurate as all get out, pretty good reload, pretty good armor, somewhat nimble, but it can do a lot, and if you are looking for a strong tier 7 battleship, Poltava is a great pick and a great one to buy. To the Palmerin. Now, this is a ship I've been waiting for Wargaming to release in some way, as I have its camo, but I do not have the ship itself, and it pisses me off because this ship is so much fun to play. It is a blast of a brawling ship. It is a tier 9, so it's not great to buy, but for those who are looking for that perfect tier 9 brawler, in my opinion, the Palmerin is the best one of its tier. Secondaries, torpedoes, the main guns, it's just a full suite of everything. It's a, fortified just fortress of guns on it, and just so worth it, but just hasn't come out yet, so it pisses me off. This ship, I undervalued it. It's a great ship, but I previously had the Prince Etzel Frederick, or Etzel Frederick, I don't know, the PEF, as many people call. It wasn't good. No, it's in great. I should have picked it up. This ship is fantastic at its tier, and is an absolute monster of a battleship. It's just so much fun. I would highly suggest it. If it ever comes out again, I am picking this sucker up, because it is that much fun. To the Prince Eugen, unfortunately, it's just not as good. It's playable. It just doesn't fix any of the problems of the tech tree line ship of that tier. It doesn't really change it up, but in most cases, this bundle does come with Von Hipper, which is a great addition to any German ship. So if if you end up picking the Prince Eugen, you'll play it, you'll get the battle honors done on it, probably forget about it, but then you have Von Hipper, so that's a plus. To actually one of our latest tier 10 additions, the Prussian. Basically, it's an upgraded Palmerin and sits in good. It has its issues at range, but overall, it's still an incredibly solid tier 10 brawling ship, and it sits really perfectly now that the new battlecruiser line is out. It sits really in that perfect in between the GK's range and the insane amount of secondaries and torpedoes that the Schlieffen line has, if I can say that right. But the Prussian, it's a fun ship. It is fun, and if it comes out in some bundle, it wouldn't be bad to pick up. So I just say it's good, just because brawling isn't always the best idea or the most capable option at tier 10. The Puerto Rico. So ever since I got this ship on my main account and have been learning from Alistair on how to play it, I know it wasn't playable. I know a lot of people will agree it should stay in playable, but to me, I think it has moved up to good. You just need to learn those arcs for it, and it can be a lot of fun and do a lot of damage. I think it's still one of my highest damage ships at tier 10 right now. It's just a blast to play when you learn those arcs. It brings a lot to the table. It can't quite kill those DDs, but it's a great support battle cruiser in that instance, and especially if you can pair it up with like a Christopher Colombo, basically no DD is safe near you at all. So highly would suggest it for those people who are looking for that battle cruiser role, but wanting to also have a little bit of support. Now we have the Bagger Nation. This goes right into playable. Unfortunately, it is a Molotov or Kirov, but brought up to tier 8, but it doesn't have the true buffs to really bring it up to tier 8. I think this would be a great tier 7. But yeah, the Bagger Nation has its issues, and I really hope that Wargaming can give it some love, because it just doesn't bring anything to the table when tier 8 is already a very, very competitive meta, and it's a pretty hard ship to work with, even with pretty accurate 180s. So it hits, but just not enough. Not enough for tier 8. Another 40k ship, the Ragnarok. Sonar plus a minor speed, accuracy, and reload buff for 60 seconds doesn't save the Amagi class. Sorry, it just doesn't. There's better 40k ships to get. Now to the Repulse. This ship is changing. It was in good, in my opinion. It has just gotten better. It's great to buy. It is a great HE, AP throwing, rapid reload, fast HMS battleship with decent armor. It crushes tier 6. I would highly suggest picking this up if this ever comes back. It's one of, if not the best, tier 6 Blitz pass ship. Now the Richelieu. This is a fantastic tier A, and I still think it is great to buy. A few people have been saying that it's kind of lost it with age, with the addition of more tier 8s, but I'm sorry, the Richelieu is still the best, just straight up forward firing, cap taking battleship at tier 8, and I'd highly suggest it. It's got low-key really good AA too, so if you run an AA build, you don't have to worry about carriers that tier at least too much. But yeah, the Richelieu is still great to buy. I absolutely love it just for that straight up forward tanking ability, and being able to hold caps incredibly well at tier 8 is important. Now to the king of tier 8, Roma. This is great to buy. This is still an insanely powerful ship. Is the reason why everyone goes rapid reload, precise aim is the best combo in game, because this thing is tanky, great guns, great secondaries, great armor. Just everything about the ship makes it super tanky. Highly would suggest it for any battleship enjoyer, and it just will destroy tier 8. Highly would suggest the Roma to just about everyone. The Scharnhorst. So for me, the Scharnhorst lands in just good. It's just good overall. It's lower gunned G, but with, once again, decent secondaries, torpedoes, full complement of everything that's German, and it's a great captain trainer for it. It holds up against most things, and if you have APCS on it, it's incredibly strong. But outside of it, still just a good German battleship. That's really it. Nothing really to write home about. The Fukushima. I had this in great to buy, but the more I've played it, I've just realized it's a gimmicky ship with good. It's strong just because it is, of course, the biggest guns in the game, and the Citadel, when you hit with these suckers, especially with Yamato or even just a Citadel strike, regular commander, is incredibly strong. But it kind of has that Georgia issue where you just lack that amount of guns to really feel like you're a powerhouse in a game comparatively to like the Yamato. It's fun. It's got its gimmick of massive Citadel strikes, but it's just now you have to get those Citadels to really truly make it work. So I'm bringing it down from great to buy to just good. So if you are looking to that, it's there, but it's just not as good as I thought it was. On to another ship that actually hasn't released is the Shinnonomi. It's going to be a Fubuki with potentially smoke. Fubuki's pretty good, so we'll have to exactly see what other stats they change. I'm going to put it into good because just that amount of torpedoes at tier 6 is hilariously powerful, but smoke, is it gonna save it, or is other stats gonna ruin it? We'll have to find out. I'm gonna put it in good just because the Fubuki is good for tier 6. Now to the last 40k ship that we currently have in game. We have the Ship Smasher, and that goes right into playable. Sonar plus 1 use of an insane speed reload gun traverse ability. It doesn't save it from being just kind of mediocre at best. Just the Cross of Dorn outshines pretty much all the other ones. I hope there's better 40k ships coming to this game, or just kind of better unique ships per se coming, because yeah, just having one in good kind of sucks. So I wish these ships were better. Now to the Saipan, or the Slypan as many people call it. It was in great to buy after I have worked with it and played with it, and also talked to more people about it. This is niche. This is truly niche. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's just straight. No, it's niche. It is niche. It has a specific niche of just being able to straight up murder all of the enemy planes on the enemy team, but you have to know how to play that. Have to know how to bait and do the fighter baiting and everything. There's just so much more to the Saipan to actually learn than to just say that it is just strictly great to buy. And yes, you have those torpedo bombers, but there's so few of them. And there's no guns on it. There's no way to defend yourself. it's niche. You have to enjoy just straight up fighters as a CD. That's it. And if you don't, then don't get the Saipan. Just straight up don't. It's niche. The Siegfried, I previously had this in playable. I want to say that it doesn't fit in playable anymore. I think it fits in good. And the reason is, it actually does have crazy accurate guns. Its secondaries and torpedoes makes a really fun time, but it's still a tier 9, so it holds it back. So just understand, it might not work for you, but I do believe it fits in good, not in niche, just because it is kind of a powerhouse at times. Still, tier 9 is tier 9. Just be a little hesitant with it, but overall, if you like that playstyle, it's a fun ship. I undervalued it. The Siliwangi. So the community kind of was up in the arms when the ship came out. Some people liked it, some people didn't. To me, it just sits in playable. It's an okay torque boat. It's okay guns. You might like it with the deep water torpedoes. You might not. It's just eh. Next up, the Sims. This is a standard issue USDD, slow torps, decent guns, smoke. That's all it is. It's good. It's just solid. So I think the slow torps really prevent it from being in great to buy. But overall, it's a good ship. If you're wanting a standard USDD, it's there. Now we have the HMS Serious. Unfortunately, this is a down-tiered Atlanta that just doesn't always have it. So I have to put it in playable. It's an okay ship. It's a fun one. You'll probably just get it from the mission crates, and you might like it, you might not, but overall, it just doesn't have the same power as the Atlanta at tier 7 for the tier 6 that it is, but I don't know. It can still work at times. I don't believe I need to say anything, do I? Perfect, good. Small lens, great to buy. That's it. That's really it. Now to a fairly balanced tier 10. The Somers. It was in good. I'm actually going to argue great to buy. And the reason is, it's a better Benham that has a lot better guns. It feels a lot better with those centerline torpedoes. And if you have Halsey, you get even more torpedo reloads on top of it. I don't know, it just feels so much better of a package, and I would highly suggest it for any DD enjoyer because it can be torp boat and a gunboat. It's really well balanced. I thoroughly enjoy it. I'd love to know, would you just put it in good, or would you put it in great to buy? Because just the amount of torpedoes that you can pump out of this thing. I know they're slow and they hardly do any damage, but they just do so many of them. And then on top of it, you get smoke, so you can then just shoot your guns that are fairly good. Like, it's just an all-around great DD package at tier 10, and I'd say it's great to buy. Another ship I'm not really sure I need to talk too much on, but the Stalingrad. This is the king of tier 10 sniping. It literally, you don't even need precise aim, and your shells are merging and converging at max range to just obliterate a single point on a ship. It's an amazing sniper, and Stalingrad's totally worth it. Strasbourg, unfortunately, this is not the Dunkirk or the Ritchie. This is the tier 7 John Bart, unfortunately. So that it just has a few issues with it. I wish it was better, though. I really do. I hope they buff it sometime. The T-61, yeah, it's playable. If you want a tier 6 German DD, there's nothing special about it, really. It's just okay. So if you want a captain trainer, there it is. The Texas, just like the Black Texas, goes right into collectors. It's just not a good ship first year. Just not. Just doesn't hold up at all. So you get it more for historical purposes, or if you've been and seen the ship. The Thunderer. So this ship was in niche. I think now with the health buff, it fits perfectly and good. It's got really good HE, really good AP, fast firing guns since the buff on that one as well, but the additional heal really helps this ship use its health pool to the extreme. You're just able to heal so much. I would highly suggest it if you do enjoy HMS battleships. This is a great pickup for you. Borderline great to buy, especially if you have Nelson, but Thunderer is a strong package overall. Just understand, you're going to need to bop in and out of fights in order to make sure that you can use those heals in battle, else you're going to die pretty quick because the health does whittle away because the armor just is not there as much as the health is. It's actually on the mark on this one pretty well. The Tiger goes right into niche. It's super akin to the Nutrishimi and so many other support ships in this game, where if you gave its abilities to another ship and worked with that other ship, it's insanely powerful. The guns can kind of actually do a lot more damage than most people think, but overall, it is still going to be that support cruiser. It fits in that niche area quite well, so if you play with a bunch of people and you can play HMS CLs very well, the Tiger is right there for you. Oh, the Tirpitz. The Tirpitz. She wasn't good. No. She's unplayable now. She's aging horribly, and she really needs some help there wargaming. Just her set and her skills and her capabilities just aren't holding up to even new battle cruisers. The Odin coming out didn't help either, but yeah, it's just the Tirpitz. I've had her forever, and I love the Halloween skin on her, but yeah, she's just not as good and needs a lot of love there. But at least she's still playable because it is still a Bismarck class, can really do a lot, and add on top, you have those torpedoes to really help you protect yourself from DDs at close range. Oh, the tone. This ship actually got a buff. It's no longer collectors. It is now barely unplayable because it's a very unique play style, but at least now it has more planes to kind of make that niche happen. I do know some people that really do thoroughly enjoy it, but I know so many more people that hate it, so I'd be careful with it. It's borderline collectors, but that buff at least kind of made it somewhat usable, you know, it's somewhat. Now to a support cruiser, the Tulsa. This one actually kind of works as good, but has a foot in niche. So I say good just because of its skills, its guns, it's all like the whole suite that it brings. It can still work by itself actually as a regular ship, but it generally works better when you pair it with a team that can help it out because it does kind of have a lack of firepower due to only having 6 guns on it. But overall, I'd say it's good, but just understand it might work better in that niche category depending on what type of player you are. Oh, we're getting there. Only one last line, but the Vanguard. So this is actually one of my favorite Tier 8 ships. It's going to go into good only because of its lighter armor, but it's an incredibly nimble battleship with great guns with HE and AP that both work on it. Fire starting chance on the HE just like any other HMS battleship, but you have that strong AP of kind of that Thunderer premium style. So I would definitely suggest picking up the Vanguard if you like those more nimble, less armored battleships, but this one you have that nimbleness that's just straight up insane that I would highly suggest putting all your mods into, where you can just turn on a dime and that really helps you survive even with that light of armor that you have. Okay, so I know a lot of people were waiting for this. The Verbus Unitas. I done this dirty last year. I did. It is not a collector ship. It is good. It is a good ship, and it's actually in the shipyard right now for fairly cheap. I would suggest picking up. It is slow, but it's tanky as all get out. It's a pocket battleship with a lot of guns, good secondaries, sonar, so you can make sure you're dodging those torpedoes even better. Precise aim, I kind of wanted to have one more, but you know, that's just kind of the nature of having a non-BB commander on it, so that's kind of, I think, the one problem with it. But the Verbus Unitas is a fantastic ship. Some would probably even argue great to buy, but I think that not having a particular ship line to work with it to make sure that the commanders, you know, has all the best benefits for the Verbus Unitas kind of hurts it. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in good, but definitely there's some people that stand by this ship as one of the best Tier 5 battleships in the game. I don't think it beats out the Giglio, but it's pretty up there. The Warspite. Now this is just like the Vanguard. It's good. It's just a solid ship. It's very nimble. It's got great HE, great AP for its tier. Pretty much, if you like the Warspite or if you like the Vanguard, both of them are pretty much their tier for tier counterparts and do pretty well, so highly would suggest picking them up. The Weimar. So this ship is not tier for tier as good as the mains, but it is still pretty solid, so I'm going to put it in good. I'd like to know where people would put it, because once again, you don't really see too many of these Weimars or the Muchins, so I'd love to know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. Oh, the West Virginia. If you're really old in this game, you remember when they were giving this thing out like hotcakes, and God, that was just, everyone got a bad taste of the West Virginia from that time. But in my opinion, the West Virginia is great to buy. It's an incredibly tanky, hard-hitting, nimble battleship, very simple to play. That's probably why they gave it out, but unfortunately, you know, you still need a few skills to make this thing stay alive a lot longer. There's a lot of health pool, really strong, hard-hitting guns. It's just a full package. I think it's great to buy. So, but yeah, that I know a lot of people that are like, oh, the West Virginia sucks, and I'm like, it's probably because you played it or you played near some of the people that were playing when it was given out for free, and it was like the Graf Spee being given out as a rental for a day, where, dear lord, there was just so many of them. It was like lemons. The Yubari. Now, typically, a lot of people would say put it right into good. I'm going to put it in a niche because you have to be able to work with those long range torpedoes that have such a short arc to fire from. So I'd say it fits better in niche, but there are some people that swear by it as being one of the best cruisers of Tier 4, which I can definitely agree. It's pretty strong. especially with those torpedoes and decent guns. But yeah, you still have to be able to work with those torpedoes and decent guns to actually make the ship work. The Udachi. So this ship goes right into niche. This is one of those ships that, once again, you can basically turn into a little Shima. It's kind of its niche. So once again, if you have that legendary commander, probably moves it into good, just like the Asashio, but it fits right next to the Asashio same way because it's the same niche, just different tier. Yahagi. So this has that niche of just being able to put out a crap ton of torpedoes, but it's bad guns. It's incredibly high out of the water and citadels easily. I put it in collectors just because you just can't make that ship really work. It is fun to occasionally drop those massive amount of torpedoes at that tier onto anything, but unfortunately that's kind of only once a game because the reload is so slow, and it's such a huge ship that you pretty much die immediately whenever you get spotted. So I would stay away from it, but it's there if you want it. Oh, my love, the Yoshino. I love it. It's getting buffed too. It just sits in good. Is it for everyone? No. But is it good? I think it's actually in a pretty good state right now. Much better than the Zhao, in my opinion. The torpedoes, the arcs are so much better. The guns are so much better. The skills, of course, it has that rapid reload, precise aim combo, along with sonar. I like it. I think it's in good. Maybe people will tell me differently in the comments down below. It's definitely not great to buy. Maybe niche, but I think good is a perfect place for it. It just doesn't have the armor to hold up, and the AA sucks too. So basically, if a carrier decides they want you dead, you're dead because they literally can't miss. That's just the problem with the Yoshino. So one last ship that I missed, which once again, thank you again to Hiromi for checking over this. Yukikaze going right into playable. Unfortunately, this is a side grade to the Kagero, but not the side grades that you want out of a premium ship. It's just far worse, so just get the Kagero instead. Though it is still a Kagero class and offers some different playstyle that is at least usable, so you got that. The Yukon. So this is actually one of our newest ships in the shipyard, and it's kind of pretty divisive, but I'm going to generally agree with a few other content creators, including Pigbay. The Yukon's just good. It's not great at anything, and the spotter planes you pretty much can't even use all of them in game. You have to really force yourself to try to do it, but it's a Monarch at tier 7. It's still a pretty good ship, and I plan on trying to get it, though it's kind of hard. I'm kind of thrown up between the Akava and the Yukon. I don't know what would you guys think? What should I get? I know I'm a cruiser main, but it's Monarch class. It's a really fun ship class. So in that tier 7, come on, right? We're finally at Z, everyone. We're finally at Z. Dear Lord, when did I start? Dear Lord, it's been like 6 hours. Okay, let's do it. Z39. This is niche. It's if you want a premium German DD with rapid reload 1. That's pretty much its gimmick, and that's kind of, there's nothing really much more to say about it, and I wish it was better. I wish there was better German DD ships, but you know, that's just, we just got what we got, right? And now to the last ship, knowing fully that the comment section will probably tell me that I have missed something. I am waiting for it because it's gonna happen. I know it. The Z44. This is playable. And the reason it's playable is that the Z46 is just better. I know it's got the 4 skills, but the 4 skills don't make it any better than what the Z46 already does. It's one of those ships. It's a side grade if you want it, but just get the Z46 instead. You'll have a lot more fun. So yeah, the Z44 is there, but I wouldn't suggest it. So this is the full list at the end of the video, just for anyone who wants to see the thing in its full. It's over. Finally, right? Oh my god, there's so many. There's so many. Hope you all enjoyed all of this. Let me know if I hit the nail on the head. Let me know if I didn't. For anyone who is looking, I hope this guides you in the right direction to purchasing a better ship or the best ship that works for you and your play style. Thank you so much, everyone, for the love and support that helped make this entire tier maker month and a half happen, and all of your opinions going into it. Oh man. And finally, if you have enjoyed this, like and subscribe. It helps out the channel so much. Hit that notification bell to see whenever a new video goes live. Thank you for everyone who are joining up on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, on any platform. Of course, the Linktree link is down below. Special thank you to the Patreon supporters for helping support this channel. For $1 to $5, you can join up down there and get early access and previews to all of my videos. Thank you all for all the love and support. Hopefully you enjoyed going through all these premiums with me in this just incredibly long video. But hope you have a good one. Peace.